They were trying to prop up the UST by
Yep.
printing more. And it just, I mean, literally, I think it was 300 million Terra Luna that went to like 5, 6, 7 billion. I don't even know how many billions, but I mean,
Exactly.
it was
Exactly.
just, I mean, it just basically makes them worthless. And people, there's still people in it that are hoping it's going to bounce back. Maybe it goes back to a penny. You just never know. But I mean, there's so many out there now that it's not going back to $30, $40.
Gareth Soloway, the chief market strategist at InTheMoneyStocks.com, has projected that Bitcoin might correct further to a low of $12,000. Soloway even stated that the correction remains a possibility because Bitcoin has never experienced the current environment characterized by quantitative easing by the Federal Reserve. Interestingly, he has also clarified that Bitcoin being a hedge against inflation was a myth. Although Bitcoin is attempting to find stability above the $30,000 level, the strategist placed the high-end next target for the flagship cryptocurrency at $20,000. He stressed that Bitcoin should retest either of the two levels based on historical price movement. Hello and welcome to Wealthy Value. In today's video, Gareth Soloway updates about things happening with Bitcoin right now, whether he still sees $20,000 as the potential bottom for Bitcoin, and his thoughts about Terra Luna crash and XRP price action. Moreover, Gareth also speaks about the chances of an upcoming bull run for Bitcoin in 2022. Make sure to stick around till the end of this video where Gareth reveals why he expects more pain for Bitcoin in the next few days. If you liked the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the post notifications. Let's dive right into the video.
And basically what we got on Bitcoin is, just kind of bouncing off this recent panic low. And we know that UST, the stable coin backed by Terra Luna, that had the collapse that caused this big sell off here, kind of a panic in Bitcoin. But the beauty of this is, and this is where the charts really show themselves to be so beneficial. If you take a channel, right, and we connect a few of these major highs here. So let's do that right here. So you can see, again, connecting this high with this one here right through, and you just stretch that line down. Look at what we get. We get that low pivot right there. So that's where I bought a little Bitcoin just to trade, just looking to get out in, maybe 33, 35, maybe 38,000 as a high pivot. But that is the technical level right now. And again, working beautifully, as you can see this trend line, just holding price. I still think Bitcoin has further downside to go, but in the near term, it is at support. I do think that it will have a bounce back a little bit higher. You basically connect these lows and these highs here. And this was that bearish pattern when we had this big fall down here and then we chopped sideways, which told us the probabilities where we were going to break down. Yeah. And so basically, if we retrace, which is right around 38, it should bring us right back into that level. Now, if you get above that, that's where I would start to say, okay, now you're back in this channel. The bearish pattern, the bearish breakdown has failed. But again, for me, probably that 38,000 would be your max upside before I would start to get bullish. Above that, yeah, I think you have to get a little bit more bullish on it. Definitely, since 38,000 is that trend line, if you got above that psychological 40,000, that even number, that's where you would start to say, okay, now we have, and assuming this is holding, right? So, I mean, you could peak above it. We've seen charts do that all the time. But let's say we stay above there for a week, 2 weeks. Now you got something cooking. I mean, there's definitely something that I would start to look for. I'd start to look for a bull flag development and further upside. And then if you do head up, the beauty of it is you have a couple levels to look at here. Number one would be this one here, which is around 44, 45,000. And then this one again up here, which is now about 51,000. That would be the next two levels of resistance. But right now, let's be clear, folks. Right now, the bear chart is fully, in control. We did hit support, so you expect a bear market rally. But until proven otherwise, this is a bear market, bear winter, whatever you want to call it. That's what it is for now. Yeah, I think the altcoins probably get a bounce as well. I think what's important here, and this is the chart of Ethereum, we could take a quick look at that. But you had this key level right here, which really was the low, right? So really amazing how this pivot, like right here with this one, and that's exactly where you came down to it. So I'm kind of in the camp that I think most things are going to follow Bitcoin. Bitcoin ultimately follows the NASDAQ. So the NASDAQ, if we get some continued upside in the tech sector, that can move up. And I think, again, you're going to look for some resistance on Ethereum, this low area kind of right here, which is around 2,500. And then maybe we can retrace into this area. And then same thing, just like with Bitcoin, if you start trading above this area and above this downsloping trend line, that's where you would enter that new bull market and where you could say, okay, there's something new cooking here. Yeah, so I think that's my high end target. So realistically, if we look at that 20,000, which was the high from 2017 back here, that would be that kind of high end. And let's be fair. I mean, just a couple nights ago we hit 25,000. So I mean, we're getting real close to that high end target. I think as a technician, you have to look at all angles. So you have to say, okay, well, there's a possibility that 20 doesn't get hit. Maybe we won't come down to 20.
Yeah.
But there's also a chance that we could go through 20 if there's extreme panic, if there's an extreme kind of reset. And the question is then, well, how low could we go? And to do that, one of the metrics that I came up with is what's called a measured move technique. So you take the high here at 69 to this low, and you basically notice that that was a pretty much a straight shot down. Right. So that's a straight shot down there. Then you take the highest point on the consolidation bounce and you drop that another equal distance. And what you'll find is if you do a measured move, so this length to this length, you get a $12,000 price target, which would be my max downside target. So this would be a repeat of past cycles. Again, I don't know if that'll be hit, but that would be kind of my worst case scenario. Right now, we have a chart that has an M top with a double top over here. I'm not sure what I said before in terms of that, but basically what you might be referring to is if you don't necessarily reach your max extension to the upside, maybe you don't reach your max extension to the downside. Yeah, you would call it from November. I mean, really just the start of November. So it does make it 6 months longer than if you did it from over here about. But yeah, I mean, you really have to take from the highest pivot. That was the explosive irrational exuberance of the ETF launching that was the futures of Bitcoin and things like that. So I think you would take it from there. And then the question is, okay, well, past cycles, we've seen 12 to 18 months until we finally bottomed out and started turning back around. So we're well over 6 months, I believe, at this point, or about 6 months in. That could leave, basically 6 to 12 months more of rough markets. Now, remember, it could bottom and just kind of chop sideways for 6 months too. We don't really know, but the bottom line is, yeah, I mean, I would be highly suspicious of the idea that it's already bottoming here. We need to see more pain, unfortunately, in any market, including the NASDAQ, by the way. The equity markets, They're getting a bounce these last few days. This is just a bear market bounce, frankly. And this downsloping one here, you need to see it start trading above that. Till then, you have to be very, very careful, in my opinion, because, again, the crypto markets are scary right now. There's a lot of question marks. I honestly don't know what this judge's decision is going to be. It could be the greatest thing, or it could just be a negative for it. So be careful. But right now, you are bouncing off support. You got to recapture some of these levels for it to become more bullish. Basically, when I was looking at the charts, it was collapsing down. I entered in the $40-ish range thinking, okay, well, it's down. It was into technical support. So I was using my chart know-how. I ended up averaging in once. I accumulated a 5% position in the portfolio. And then at that point, I was willing to go, by the way, to 12% of my portfolio, because based on the market cap, I always structure how much I'm going to invest by, Bitcoin's going to be the biggest in my portfolio because it's the most stable, right? Ethereum second. And Terra Luna is kind of in that kind of third tier. So I was willing to go up to 12% of my portfolio. At 5%, I said to myself, wait a minute. I started to hear what was going on. I said, all right, I'm going to hold it. You never know. Maybe it bounces. Maybe they get straighten this out, but I'm not going to invest anything more. And thank goodness I didn't, because it basically lost it all, But again, position size is everything. And this, Paul, is it doesn't, you want to take shots, fine, but don't put your whole portfolio in a gamble. 2%, 5%, 3%, whatever, you can recover from that. 50, 80, 90, 100%, you're done.
Commenting on the Terra coin's collapse, Soloway opined that the incident might have a long-term positive impact on the crypto sector from a regulatory front. He acknowledged that for the sector to grow, there is a need for regulation, and Luna's collapse might set the ball rolling to protect investors. With some investors buying Luna amid the crash, Soloway warned that the move might not yield results in the long term due to the dilution of the crypto. Furthermore, Soloway opined that Luna's collapse is helping Bitcoin and Ethereum stand out as the only reliable cryptocurrencies. However, he noted that for the two assets to remain dominant forces, at least 95% of other coins should be wiped and replicate the .com era. So what are your thoughts about Gareth Soloway's $20,000 price prediction for Bitcoin? Tell us in the comments. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you soon with the next video. Thank you so much for watching.